Hi everyone. I have another reading for you today, and it's a shorter reading, but the nature of it is about communication, and I want to share the idea that there's many forms of communication, verbal and nonverbal. A lot of times when people talk and talk and talk, there's something deeper that they're not saying, that's not being said, or they don't really actually have that much to say and they're trying to find their voice. It's people who speak less and speak with power who kind of conserve their energy in a better way, in my opinion. So, also, a big problem in relationships is that many of us are relying on people's words and on what people say, which is very nice. We may encounter some people who are really some charming talkers. At the same time, we want to protect ourselves because there's also a language of action and body language and facial nuance and tone. What else is being said, you know? And then, if you can tune in with that with others about what's being said non-verbally, you can tune in better with yourself. So I'll start with a few basic things, like say someone says, like just the phrase "I'm sorry." There's 100 ways you could say that in different circumstances, where it could come off as offensive or polite. Also, you want to remember the way that your words land with someone might not be how you intend, but anyway, that's a big energy in the collective that I'm picking up on, is what is being said energetically is not actually being heard in a lot of dynamics, a lot of relationships. And there may be someone from your past who you wish you had been more clear with verbally about your feelings or your experience in life, but you talked and talked in circles around it. Or you're doing that now. I was thinking about the monkey see, monkey, or, the hear no, see no, speak no evil, the monkey thing. It's I think it's a Buddhist thing, but hear no, see no, speak no evil. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. So what does that really mean? It sort of reminds me of the hand of Fatima, which is really about the evil eye. But those are kind of different veins of thought. But so I always feel like I interpret things differently than most spiritual teachers. But hear no, see no, speak no, I interpret that as if you don't. I interpret it as, if you ever lived in New York City, they say if you see something, say something on the subway. They project it over the loudspeaker. I lived there for about 6 years on and off in my younger years. Anyway, if you see something, say something, and that's supposed to be a crime watch thing. But why don't we do that in our lives? Why are we blind to what could be negative? We make ourselves blind. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to see it. We don't want to look at it. But it could also be, don't think of evil things. Only think of beautiful and wonderful things, which is one way to interpret it. I mentioned the hand of Fatima and the evil eye because you may feel, as that comes into the reading, that imagery, you may feel like there's a curse on you, or you are continually trying to do things and they're not working out. In my last reading, I'm doing a bunch of mini readings today. I mentioned how your path right now is leading you towards your greater purpose and higher self and joy. And for many people with trauma, that may be really hard to hear. It may be hard to hear, well, why would I go through this really horrible experience? That's not going to lead me to joy. But a lot of that has to do with trust. And so when we tune into what's being said with others non-verbally, we can do that with ourselves too, because there's a lot of things that I feel that you're not listening to within yourself. What is being said with what you're doing, how you're acting, what you're thinking, the choices you're making in your life, okay? What is the greater essence of the sort of song that's being played? You know, I like to think of my life as a work of art, and that everything I do is a piece of art. Everything. That gets a little bit out there, because I was exposed to a lot of performance art in my life, so. But a lot of people don't see the world that way. It's important to me to say that too, because an artist doesn't always make the painting they want. Sometimes they make a lot of paintings and one is really brilliant and one isn't, okay? And you have to be willing to look at those messy parts of yourself and others, to not be blind to them, but also not to fixate so much on negativity, okay? There's definitely some energy coming through, some guides telling me that you need to spend more time playing games, because I think you felt toyed with in a situation in your life, and playing these sort of silly games, maybe with other people, is going to bring back the power of game playing. I'm also being shown a forest with a maze. I think you may have felt like you're in a labyrinth. If you know what that is, it's like a maze that the Minotaur was caught in astrology. Minotaur is like part bull, part man, or something like that. Is it bull? I forget what. It's part animal, part man. Anyway, it's like a monster that chases people in this underground maze. I also was thinking about The Shining with the maze. Okay, I'm gonna go there. So I'm obsessed with The Shining because I see it as a reflection of my experience growing up as a highly sensitive psychic child, not understanding what was going on most of the time. And I was a selective mute until I was like 5. Like, I barely spoke, maybe 6. I could speak, but I just was very quiet. And I had siblings that talked a lot, so it was very like, why is she not talking? I was born not crying, similarly. So they thought I was dead, but I was fine, and the doctor said she doesn't have to cry. Well, I'm telling you this because a big piece of my life is finding my voice. I have Chiron and Gemini conjunct my North Node, so my greater purpose is to find my voice and to express that healing, really, because Gemini can be about healing with the world, as the wounded healer. This reading has gone a little bit off topic, but I think that with the Minotaur chasing and the Shining reference, there may be someone who is intimidating with you, okay? A person in your life that was threatening, and you, before this time, or scary or harmful, some sort of maybe assault or even just verbal abuse, I'm seeing for you some very traumatic, threatening person that you had to deal with, okay? This person is not well. I don't think they're mentally sound. They may have like a mental health issues, but also addiction, or just also health issues that are affecting their thinking. And I think you are beating yourself up because you didn't see what was being said. You didn't see the danger of what was being said without words, okay? I think this person was intimidating you for a long time, and you were being gaslit that it wasn't happening. And now you're realizing that everything you tune in on is real in terms of other people's intentions and other people's vibes. So when we turn that on ourselves, one really cool thing to do is if you're having, like, if you ever use a pendulum, it's a really cool tool. It's like you can ask it yes or no questions and it will help you decide what to do. You can use your body as a pendulum. You can find a natural yes position and a natural no position. And then as you move through your day, see which position you go towards and notice what thoughts you're thinking about. If you're thinking about some big decision and you're going towards the no movement, your body's telling you, I don't like this. It can be so easy to become detached from our own thoughts and feelings in this world that we live in, because we're picking up on other people's stuff, we're picking up on the internet, and there's really not a lot of space to know what we think and we feel. So that's what I'm offering that you do in this reading. Not just listening to others and what they may be trying to tell you with their actions beyond their words, but listening to yourself and your heart and what it may be trying to tell you.